Oh, both hands. What's up, everybody? It's just me at the local game store, Phoenix Reborn, tonight. And I had a few minutes before we wound up tonight because there's not much going on here in the late evening. And I wanted to talk a little bit at Eternal and talk a little bit about some of the deck choices I have personally going into this event. I won't show full deck lists, but this is just kind of an overview of where I am mentally and thinking about deck choices and what I enjoy in Eternal format right now. And I've tested a bunch of these decks. Pretty much I've tested these 5 decks for the last 2 weeks in preparation for an Eternal Pokemon TCG monthly. You definitely see maybe a couple odd ones here, or at least one very odd one, maybe. And I'm just going to start with the one Pokemon deck. If you jump into the stream, thanks for joining us. Like I said, it's going to be a quick stream, not planned at all, this Pokemon stream, because there's nobody playing. It's just really deck overview and deck choices going into... What I can say is, at least for our area especially, going to be a new established metagame because of the new kid on the block. The Big Bad 3, Arceus and Dialga and Palkia GX tag team are now back on the table. I've been giving them some thought, and I have my own little build that I won't go too far in depth with, but know that this is a deck I'm considering, and this is a build that I like, and honestly, this is a build my son liked as well when he would occasionally dabble in Expanded. And so with this card coming out off the ban list and into this weekend's events, I have some ideas, and I'm definitely considering them. Probably not as much as I'm considering this deck, but we'll see what I feel like going into tomorrow. But real quick, we'll just start with what is my favorite deck in the format. I've been playing it online. I played it at a tournament here a month ago at Phoenix Reborn when we did the Pokemon for Charity event, and I made top 4 with this deck, losing out to Gardevoir. 5 Gardevoir. He cheated, but it was okay. We missed it. We all made the mistake of missing it, and we honestly thought it was a legal deck until it was over. And we never quit giving him crap about the 5 Guardy deck. But anyway, it was still a fun event. Everybody enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it because it solidified how much I enjoy the Palkia V-Star line. It's just such an efficient attacker for 2 energy. If your opponent goes wide, they're kind of feeding into the game plan of Palkia V-Star, which is your damage gets bigger as they go bigger. And, of course, you're playing that Sky Field in the deck to grow the board. Sky Field Stadium card. Each player can have up to 8 bench Pokemon. And... really part of the game plan of this deck is get the Skyfield online and go wide, even if your opponent restricts their bench. I have gone back and forth with playing the Suicune V as a one-of in the deck. I do enjoy it, having that fleet-footed as well as an attack turn 1 going second if I need to. But most times I don't need it. Not nearly as much as I need either Pivot or... I like the Starmie V a lot. Personally, I like it for, in particular, other matchups. Now that in the local area and online, some people are starting to really experiment with the Mega Venusaur EX. I'm seeing that this is potentially necessary to have something to attack that potentially one-shots if they overcommit energy onto the board. So I really like it. It's a pivot Pokemon as well. It is very squishy, though. At 190 HP, it's getting KO'd by just about everything. As soon as you take a single prize, Charizard KOs it. Playing the one of Iron Bundle in the deck as well. I'm not using it very often, but I still enjoy the card. it's potentially on the chopping block just because I do not use it very often. Lapras, Sport Navigation, busted card, love it. Always going to play the Lapras with the Sport Navigation Poké Power. It's very, very good. And I am really enjoying the wonderful Inteleon line with the 3 copies of Sobble, 3 copies of Drizzile, and a single copy each of 2 different Inteleon in the build right now. So you can go either way. You can go for the shady dealings, grab more trainers, or you can get quick shooting and start amplifying your damage that way. Still rocking the funny 1 Rowlet, 1 Birdkeeper. Love this card combination. Love it so much. I'm also running a lot more Irida than some players. Yes, I'm running VS Seeker in the deck, but I believe I'm currently at 3 or 4 Irida. And it might be overkill, but I really love to see that card turn 1. It looks like I'm running 3 copies in this build. So 3 copies of Irida, 2 copies of Melanie, 1 copy of Research, 1 copy of Iono, 1 copy of Boss, my ace-spec of choice is the Prime Catcher. So this is kind of where I am. I love a good toolbox, and this water toolbox is just, it hits the spot when it comes to playing Pokemon. I love offering a mid-range strategy to myself anytime I play the game. And so, yeah, it's definitely a thing. I could make some definite choices going into the weekend before everything's all said and done. But it's just one of my favorite decks to play. Rhydon. Rhydon's pretty fun too. I have a feeling someone's going to borrow this deck, honestly. And I hope they do, because Rhydon's really, really solid. I think it's still in a solid position. I'm playing 1 funny little Badoo in here, because I actually think this is pretty good going second. Hate the little bugger, but as long as he's around, you might as well use him. But the basic strategy with this deck is pretty straightforward. You play Miraidon, you get a tandem unit, so you can get 2 lightning Pokemon on the bench. You can get the Raikou, you can get the Iron Hands. In the late game, mid game, you can play the Mantine from the Delta Species set. I'm not 100% sure what this is. I don't know if it's Power Keepers, but it's Delta Species set. And it's got the Power Circulation, where you can, once per your turn, you do have to put a damage counter on this Pokemon when you do it, but you get to put a lightning energy on top of your deck. So in the mid game, you can guarantee attachments from Electric Generator. And I'm also playing Electric Power in my deck, because why not boost the power of that attack? And unlimited damage ceiling playing the Raichu V, as well as 2 targets for your V-Star power in deck, which is going to be that Forest Seal Stone tool. Other fun things, don't forget Tapu Koko Prism Star is an awesome ramp to 2 targets on the board. Funny, weird little inclusions in my deck. What am I doing that's different? I'm being funny because I love suboptimal, silly cards. So instead of playing 3 Floatstone, I'm going to play a U-turn board and a rescue board and a Floatstone, because that's just who I am. Yes, I know this is proxy, so I can just proxy all these, but here I am just playing funny, haha stuff. But yeah, just play 2 or 3 Floatstone if you want the deck to be completely optimal. Energy count, I'm doing 13 basic energy, I believe. And I've got the speed energy in deck. I got a couple of these because sometimes a little extra draw is good. This deck is very Brick City after turn 1. And you kind of want to go off to the races, and you want to make sure you have some sort of draw late game. Because, like, I'm playing the Squawk, and I almost always use the Squawk ability to Squawk and Seize, discard my hand, draw 6. And then if I don't hit Supporter, and I don't draw cards, like, this is just a little extra potential draw for the deck. Rockin' Prime Catcher as the ace-spec, just fantastic card. I don't think the deck really needs Secret Box. I just think if you're going to be like an aggro deck like this, just play the extra Gust in your deck. So that's what we're doing with that one. Really fun deck. I'm not necessarily in a position where I feel like I need to play this deck, but if I feel like there's going to be a bunch of little single prize decks running around, like Mad Party and whatnot, that definitely helps. There's also one other little funny deck that kind of helps with single prize decks. I think this actually does very well given the current situation of things. So I just grabbed a vintage deck of mine. I grabbed an old Greninja Break deck from my 2017-2018 block of decks. And, I messed around with it a little bit. And I think the only big changes that need to go into it are honestly maybe a Greninja EX. I've thought about it. Greninja EX is a possibility. I don't think this card's necessary. I don't really know what to swap with this card. Right now it's just like a dead card most of the time. But Talonflame is often how you open the game. With this Gale Wing, it's free retreat. It's getting you 2 cards, dealing damage. I think Badoo could also easily see its way into here. Ignore these. These are replaced with Ns. I've got 4 copies of N in the deck box. They just need to go in there. 4 copies of N, 2 copies of Ace Trainer, 2 copies of Teammates, 2 copies of Research, and a single copy of Lysander, aka Boss's Orders. 4 Dive Ball, 3 VS Seeker, 2 Repeat Ball, 2 Rare Candy, 2 Field Blowers, because this deck needs to have its abilities. So if you don't know about Greninja Break has an ability where once on your turn, if this is in the active, you can use the ability, discard a water energy from your hand, and you place 6 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. This is pretty nutty. Now, in a world where there's a bunch of aggro decks, in a world where ADP is probably at the table, this is probably not getting to this fast enough. But in a format where everybody's playing single prize decks, and everybody is taking their time setting up, this is pretty solid. I mean, like, I'm thinking of cards like Mew Fates Collide, leaving a Badoo on the board after it item locked a few turns and just waiting, and then eventually just starting using Giant Water Shuriken. Not to mention, you're also using Shadow Stitching to lock their abilities, dealing 40 damage. Just kind of a slow, grindy game plan. This is for a very special kind of someone, and sometimes I am in that kind of mood where I want to be that special someone and play Greninja Break. I don't think I'm going to play that tomorrow. I think I'm too scared of ADP, to be perfectly honest. And if you can't beat them, join them. Hence why it's a possibility. But suffice it to say, I've been playtesting with Greninja Break. And it can be fun. It can be very, very fun. Speaking of fun, unlimited damage ceiling deck. I won't touch Raging Bolt in Standard, but I think Raging Bolt in Eternal is hilarious and awesome, and I love the amount of tools you have at your disposal with just so many things. Pachirisu, the Minun, so the extra ability draw, the ramp, the self-generating, putting 2 extra lightning energy into play, recurving that energy back into play, a draw engine and concealed cards. You have Wonder Tag early game. You have the Dance of the Ancients from this, and you just have really big attacker and Raging Bolt. The only problem with the deck, very admittedly, is this deck is very linear. And at the end of the day, if someone is playing a matchup where they go, I'm going to be immune to all your basic Pokemon's attacks, or they're going to play something where they're immune to all your Pokemon with rule boxes, you are forced to attack with Naganadel. Or in very, very weird cases, maybe you're attacking with Pachirisu. Maybe you're forced to attack with this. Please don't do that. But, like, if you're forced to do this, I do have one Buzzwole in here. Buzzwole does deal with Pikarom and lightning decks like Turbo Miraidon for 1 energy once they hit 4 prizes, so it's kind of cool. Also does a lot of damage to the Mega Lopunny, but you're never one-shotting that. You would have to stack so many damage modifiers on that to OHKO a Mega Lopunny EX. So this is the kind of thing where it's very, very cool and very consistent, but it's also very linear. And that's just the same thing that's always been going on with with Raging Bolt. It's a very linear strategy. And although there's lots of fun little tools that you have at your disposal to make the deck work out really well, sometimes they just have an answer for you and they stop Raging Bolt in its tracks. Those are the decks I'm looking at for the weekend. I've got a ton more decks behind me. I just don't have the time tonight. I just wanted to like quickly get my thoughts out there, reasons why I like the decks. The one thing I'm going to say is that I am playing the Arceus Dialga Palkia with 2 prize Pokemon and a draw engine that's pretty consistent. And I can tell you that Metal Energy is in it. And the reason this bad boy is so good is because of the Double Dragon Energy. And yeah, this is my take on the deck. And if I show up on stream tomorrow, you'll possibly see what this deck has going for it. Otherwise, I'm keeping this list to myself until I start playing, because it's very experimental between me and teammates playing. Some fun things to come. I hope I can bring this setup over to the Spellbound store, get everything set up, and we can have a stream, and we can have 3 to 4 rounds is what I'm hoping for a pretty good event. But that's all I have for tonight. Just a short stream, and I am going to try to make a habit of doing more videos like this where I am just putting myself out there and talking Pokemon, talking Eternal, and talking about the metagame and the format and what's going on and what are people doing and what are people feeling, all those sorts of things and more. Thanks for coming to my channel tonight. If you stopped in to say hey, or check out the VOD later, leave a comment. Just tell me what you think of some of these decks, and tell me why you're playing in Eternal. Tell me if you haven't even heard of Eternal and you want to play Eternal, and then I can tell you what to do. Just get it at your local game store, get it at your Pokemon League, tell them about Eternal. It's a lot of fun.